What's up? Wynncraft has 5 classes, all with 3 archetypes. So I made a tier list. It goes without saying that I am objectively correct. Here's the empty tier list, and I'll just be throwing these in during the video. You can also make your own tier list while watching this video, and that link will be in the description. Let's start with the big guns, and by that, I mean Archer, Bolt Slinger, Trapper, and Sharpshooter. Trapper has a dog, so it is instantly a cool archetype. This archetype specializes in laying down a minefield and carefully pushing or maneuvering enemies into traps. Bolt Slinger is the ultimate arrow spam class. It spams arrows so fast, in fact, that the recoil can make you fly. Sharpshooter is the best out of the 3. With the ability Focus, your damage increases by nearly double as long as you never miss your shots. Sharpshooter is my favorite Archer type. Sharpshooter is the best option for raids and boss content. It does the most damage out of the 3 archetypes and boasts multiple playstyles of differing skill level requirements. Tier Stack is one of the easiest playstyles in the game. With Archer's ranged attack, it becomes even stronger. Your ability to consistently do damage and stay safe at range makes this playstyle a cakewalk. Bolt Slinger has a crazy playstyle. Arrow Storm causes recoil. With this recoil, alongside some momentum manipulating techniques, the player can fly. It's easy to learn, but hard to master. Of course, this is only possible if you do not take the ability called Elusive, which would normally cancel the recoil from Arrow Storm. Typically, you would take this ability since Bolt Slinger used to be the best option for grounded Archer spell spam. But I would rather just use Trapper or Sharpshooter for that. Bouncy bomb arrows, traps, a bunch of pets. This chaotic archetype will keep things very entertaining. But what archetype would be best for leveling up? Truth be told, they would all work. Trapper would be the best for mob grinding, but Bolt Slinger has great quality of life abilities like Frenzy and Walk Speed. Alright, time to make people mad. I think Bolt Slinger sucks. A tier. It sucks, but it's like still very usable. Trapper is a solid A tier. And last for Archer is Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter is easily S tier. Sharpshooter does ooga booga damage and has a ton of viable playstyles. But of course, if I had to rate these 3 archetypes specifically by funness, Trapper's on top. Bolt, trash. And Sharpshooter, it's a solid A. Wynncraft Wizard Gang. Riftwalker, Lightbender, and Arcanist. Riftwalker sucks. I think it's deserving of trash tier, but no. I've been informed that it should at least be B. Riftwalker's design makes me angry. Damage ramping with Winded is slow, and the archetype relies on spell spam, but does not offer any way to print mana like the other archetypes can. Hilarious enough, Riftwalker is the reason why there's now a Spell CPS macro limit. TKW, the player who uploaded this video, made me start thinking, maybe macros are way too strong. But this is legal. Technically. Rule number 2 states that macros are only allowed to be used to input single 3-click spell commands at a time. Unfortunately, Macro Mage's unlimited potential has become limited in the latest hot patch. On day 1 of adding the new spell limit, they might have introduced some funny bugs. Riftwalker, B for bad. Lightbender. I like this archetype and I am totally not biased. Lightbender is an archetype that is easy to learn and use. This archetype focuses on healing, and many elements of its design play into that. Lightbender replaces this meteor with these orbs. Unlike Meteor, this spell sticks around, making this class less spell spam oriented. Lightbender is great for everything in Wynncraft. A tier. And lastly, my favorite mage archetype, Arcanist. It is simply the best mage archetype, both being the best for low-level progression and endgame gameplay. This archetype's main feature is an ability that prints mana. Your heal spell gets replaced with Arcane Transfer, which gives you the ability to cash in on all of the mana in your mana bank. The mana bank fills up by successfully landing hits from Meteor and Ice Snake. At 120, casting Transfer will give you all the mana and recast your last 3 spells for free. Dude, I love Chaos Explosion. This ability receives its own upgrade to 5 spells, and there's even a 1 with a major ID for Chaos Explosion. The extra spells from Chaos Explosion assist in charging your mana bank for yet another Chaos Explosion, resulting in a very enjoyable and satisfying cascading effect. Arcanist is easily the best mage archetype for beginners to start off with. This archetype quickly gains the ability to spell spam, which is exceedingly powerful in the beginning. Losing your heal spell might sound bad, but it doesn't actually matter at all. In fact, I would argue that it's good that you no longer have a healing spell. Offense is the best defense. Instead of wasting your mana on casting the heal spell, you can instead just use health potions, and focus your mana on dealing damage or teleporting away from enemies. A for Arcanist. Arcanist is definitely S tier for funness. Lightbender is A, but it depends on the build. And Riftwalker is trash. Next, Assassin has 3 very different archetypes, each designed with a different intention of control. Shadestepper, Trickster, and Acrobat. There is something about Shade that just makes it the most interesting to think about, but it falls short of expectations. It excels in the content where its niche performs as intended, like Legendary Island, but falls flat in general. That said, Shadestepper offers the best abilities for low-level progression. Trickster is really powerful. By level 80, you will already have access to one of the strongest playstyles in the game, Trickrobat. Check this out, level 80 Trickster build. It's mostly just quest items, and they all have XP bonus as well, so it's great for leveling up. This level 64 dagger is absolutely nuts, and that should be all the equipment. Let's start this raid. Trickster's main thing is having clones that will absorb damage taken and eventually recast your spells. We take some abilities from Acrobat in order to make his playstyle even stronger, like Weightless mixed with bonus jump height equipment. Trickrobat at its core is just jumping around and killing stuff, which is pretty funny.
Hey!
Time for the solo. Acrobat is the best. It's easily one of the most unique playstyle experiences in Wynncraft. Learning how to play and mastering flight is a whole new category of satisfying. It's not even time for the funness rating, but I don't care. Acro is easily S tier for fun. Acrobat's damage scales upwards as you continue to learn and master being a bird. A couple passive damage sources serve as a consistent flow of damage, and with the ability Weightless, you print mana every time you hit enemies while flying. Shadestepper in B. Acrobat is A tier, right between Arcanist and Lightbender. Trickster is super damn good and is deserving of S tier. It excels in all content and does hella damage. But for fun, you already know! Acrobat S tier, easy peasy. Trickster is kinda mid. A tier! Shadestepper has satisfying burst potential, and the immersion makes it that much better. The developers just need to throw caution to the wind and make Shadestepper busted. Shaman. Summoner, Ritualist, and Acolyte. Shaman has many cool design concepts, but the execution makes them feel flat. Ritualist has a stance-based playstyle. You swap from mask to mask in order to continually activate buffs and debuffs. The final Ritualist upgrade is an awakened mode where you benefit from all the mask buffs for 25 seconds. You have to charge it up, so it's kinda like an ultimate ability, but despite how cool that might sound, the masks instead best serve to improve the 2 other archetypes. Summoner is an archetype that plays itself. There's very little you have to do in regards to the summons, and it kind of ruins expectations. You have these goblins and effigies that come out of the totems, and they go to town until their time limit expires. By the way, Summoner only has 2 unique summons. Trapper has 3. Let that sink in! Acolyte is badass. The theme of Acolyte makes it more ritualistic than Ritualist, and your totems drink your blood in order to make your aura spell absolutely busted. Doing so will increase your damage dealt, and you'll also be healed. This archetype has a cool concept of health investment and being rewarded because of it. Acolyte, Summoner, and Ritualist in A tier. For the funness tier, Summoner can suffer in B. Acolyte and Ritualist though, they're big chillin' in A. I might not be the biggest fan of Shaman, but Acolyte is still pretty cool. It's also the best for low-level grinding. Make sure you grab Ritualist's Lunatic Mask and Hymn of Hate, and your grinding will be super easy. Save the best for last. Warrior has my favorite trio of archetypes: Fallen, Battle Monk, and Paladin. Fallen is the Berserker class of Wynncraft. Casting War Scream activates a corrupted state where taking damage will make you stronger. Fallen is incredibly strong, and it's my recommendation for new warrior players. Battle Monk is a perfect example of an archetype. Mobility and quality of life is Battle Monk's forte, and there's so many playstyles allowed because of Battle Monk. uppercut surfing, generalist, bash screen, charge spam. All of these only exist because of Battle Monk. Despite being a seemingly overpowered archetype, I still do not recommend it for leveling. Battle Monk exists as an excellent option for endgame content due to its spell spam nature. You're better off with opting for Fallen's damage or Paladin's survivability instead as a low-level warrior. Paladin is in a weird spot where the abilities are cool, I guess, but they still need to be tuned up a little bit. You have survivability and upgrades designed around taking some hits, like Manichism, one of my favorite Paladin abilities. Sacred Surge is really good, and Paladin is still being worked on. The direction they're taking Paladin in seems to be very interesting, so I'm definitely getting excited to see what they're cooking up. For now, if you want to be a tank, use Paladin. Fallen and Battle Monk are both S tier, and Paladin is A tier. More importantly, the funnest tier list. Battle Monk is just the most interesting. Viable variety and intriguing build playstyles easily place Battle Monk in the S tier. Doing huge damage is always fun, especially when it's associated with added risk for reward. Fallen specializes in this idea, so of course it would be a banger archetype. S tier. I would love to rate Paladin higher than it deserves, but they're still cooking! And that's all 5 classes. Am I wrong? Am I right? Please prove me wrong in the comments. I will be reading all of them, and since I am objectively correct, I can't wait to inform anyone with a different opinion on why they are wrong. Thanks for watching. Oh my god, it worked! Wait, what are you doing?